Hear me, now my voice should be good. Let me turn down the music. Here we go, let me put that there. Hopefully this sounds good. Let me see if it is up on the YouTubes. I like the YouTubes, there's my pretty face. Well, all there is, I also forgot to take that out of the shot. My closet door broke, but that's not a big deal. I'm just lazy and don't want to fix it. But I meant to hide it from the shot so that you all wouldn't know that I'm lazy. Da 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 da. Hello, everybody. All right, looks like the sound is good. Music might be a little loud. Let me bump the music down a little bit. And I should start off. Thank you very much, Sarah, and thank you very much, Angie, for those super chats to both of you. I will talk about. I'll look. Oh no, why am I? There we go. Now I'm in focus. But just to let everyone, happy April Fool's Day, Miss Wicked Wolf. Just to let oh, and thank you about the pretty top. I wore this for the video yesterday, and I just wanted to. I don't know. I like it. It's comfy. But yes, as the title alludes to, I probably if I didn't want to talk about it, as the title alludes to, yesterday I had kind of a crappy day. I've talked about it on Twitter if you're curious about it, and someone, Lisa Garrison, asked about it earlier in the chat if you're curious about it. Oh my gosh, really? That is quite literally the package person coming here. Literally, he's gonna call. He can slip it through the bars. I know what the package is. It's for a video. Quite literally, the package person just buzzed as I start. Like, I've been here all day doing nothing. The second I have something that I literally can't walk away from, the package person shows up. They usually call me because it's from Amazon, because I like giving money to giant corporations, apparently. Call me, and I'll just tell you to throw it between the bars, because I don't want to leave. Anyways. Whether or not I get that package, speak of the devil. Here's Amazon. I'm gonna talk to the Amazon driver on the live stream. Hello? Hi. Yes. Is the package able to be pushed through the bars? I actually can't come down at the moment. I'm kind of indisposed. Yeah, that's totally fine. As long as you can just toss it between the bars, I can pick it up in just a little bit. Thank you so much. You are wonderful. I always try to say to the Amazon drivers that they're wonderful, but they always just are like, okay, thanks. I'm sure they have too much crap to have to deal with. Like, being an Amazon driver is props to them, because that's a horrible job. Amazon is a terrible company. Anyways, anyways, the package will be there. Now you got to see the package things. Anyways, I hope that was good content for all of you. Anywho, like I alluded to, yesterday I had a really terrible day. I don't really want to talk about it. If you're curious about what happened, I talked about it on Twitter. And also I, whatchamacallit, I mentioned it earlier in the chat, but I just want to hang out. Let's just have some fun. Let's have a good chat. So I hope all of that, I hope all of you are doing really, really well today. So, anyways, now that the package person kind of threw my brain out of whack. How is everyone? I haven't actually said to everyone how they're doing today. Let's see. Hello, Imperial Young. Hello, Mark Tolsom, Miss Wicked Wolf, Savik of Vulcan. Oh, love that username, by the way. Amo, Ian Manning. I'm not gonna be able to say hi to everyone, but I'm just saying hi to people that I see coming up. Wellington Smith, good to see you. Sam, Psychic Refugee, Goza the Gozerian, Andre Jones, Hannah Riskin, Selkie. Oh, I like that name, Selkie. That's a great one. Clayton Berg, Imperial Young, Geek Filter, good to see you, Geek Filter. And hey, Dennis with the Presto delivery. Anywho, so for those of you who might be new to this chat, this is just my Thursday hang chat stream. So I talk about whatever anyone else in the chat wants to talk about. If you do super chats, I give hearts for super chats. Otherwise, we just kind of hang out and just have a nice conversation with everyone in the chat. And speaking of super chats, I know I got one earlier from Sarah. Sarah, thank you for that chat. I appreciate that. And then Angie, you said, I know you've played Mass Effect, but what about Dragon Age? Claudia Black from Farscape does one of the voices. Claudia Black is freaking amazing. Sadly, though, I never got into Dragon Age. I don't know why. I feel like it might have been just the play style. Like, it's kind of like that turn-based style, if I recall. It's not real-time. And, like, that turn-based RPG style, like Knights of the Old Republic kind of has that same thing, too. It's not really my favorite thing. I like having more real-time aspects to games. So I never got into Dragon Age. I knew I would love the story of it. Like, everything I heard about the story sounded wonderful, and I know there's, like, a trans character in it, which is also amazing. But for some reason, it just never clicked with me, and I do plan on, if they come out with another one, trying that out. But I just never got into it before then. But I do want to give it a shot. Because I know story-wise I would adore it. Just gameplay-wise, it just never clicked with me what I saw. And Paula, by the way, so your super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Paula. Heart to you. And thank you for saying you love my vids. And I'm just thankful that you like them and enjoy them. And thank you for being here in the community. So, heart to you. So thank you very much. Imperial Young, sending you a heart as well. Thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. You said my day was awful until you showed up. Aw, thank you for being so awesome in stream today. Well, thank you for being awesome, and thank you for being really, 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 really generous, and thank you for being, like, a really cool person. I'm trying to, like, make sure I just say, like, thank you, but also, like, just be, like, beyond the super chat. You're awesome, and thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. So, all right. Let's catch up with the chat. I think the trans character is voiced by Jennifer Hale. Jennifer Hale is awesome, by the way. I adore Jennifer Hale. I believe Jennifer Hale also did FemShep, right? In Mass Effect. I think that was Jennifer Hale. Speaking, I don't know if you can see it in my shot here, but I got my FemShep right up there in the background. Because FemShep is the best Shep, as they say. No one says that. I say that. FemShep is the best Shep. I mean, most people say that FemShep is the best Shepherd, but I say FemShep is the best Shep. I'm gonna turn that off because my phone's gonna be dinging. Mr. Wiggum, do I need to tell you that Council of Geeks stole your hearts again? You don't need to tell me. I know. We've talked about it. I've properly shamed her. No, she's wonderful. Shivek, your videos are amazing. I got so happy when I saw the stream. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. I'm glad you're here. Sending love from Denmark, says Christoph F. Thank you so much. Let's see. Yes, I'll say that. FemShep is the best Shep for sure, says Sam. Awesome is as awesome does. If only to flirt with Garrus. Yes, I'm going to be, so I think next month, it's April. No, May. May is when they're coming out with the Mass Effect Remastered trilogy, and I'm so pumped for it. Just so I can, like hang out with my boy Garrus again and romance him again. Like, theoretically, I should play the game differently and make different choices because it'll be a different playthrough, but we all know I'm going to romance Garrus. Like, what other choice is there? I mean, Thane is pretty awesome, but Garrus. Come on, Garrus. Garrus is the sweetest. Edward Beador, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. FemShep is who I would date in Mass Effect. I know. I mean, I would date FemShep if I wasn't FemShep. But then again, Garrus is. But if I am FemShep, Garrus is the shepherd that I would. Or Garrus is the one that I would. I date always, every single time. Director Colson, thank you so. Also, great username by the way, Director Colson. Heart to you. Thank you for the super chat. Have you played Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? I think you would appreciate how the protagonist's trauma is reflecting both the story and gameplay. Yes, I have played Jedi Fallen Order. Loved it. Like, that was probably one of my favorite Star Wars games because, like, I've never been a fan of Dark Souls, like Soulsborne types of games, mostly because they're a little bit too hard for me, and not that I could probably get through them, but I have anxiety with not progressing in games. Like, I only have so much time in my life nowadays to play video games because I'm so busy, so I always try to, when I play a game, make sure I can progress in it. So most Soulsborne games I don't play because I'll, like, get really far, then die and lose all my progress, and it'll end up frustrating, and I just have an anxiety moment because of it. But Jedi Fallen Order was like that type of gameplay because I like the gameplay style. I just think it's a little bit too hard, and that was the perfect way to do it, and it kind of mapped it onto like this Metroidvania thing, and the story was really, as you say, the story was really strong. I also love to get visiting Dathomir. Dathomir was just so cool to visit. The Dathomir is one of my favorite places in all of Star Wars. I always like the horror element of it. So yeah, Jedi Fallen Order was great. I had some critiques with the story here and there, actually most of it to do with the Dathomir stuff, because it just felt sort of ancillary to most of it. But overall, that was a great game, and I'm very excited to see Jedi Fallen Order 2. Probably right up there with my favorite Star Wars games beyond Star Wars Republic Commando, which is probably my favorite Star Wars game if I had to think about it. It's been a minute since I played it, so it might just be adolescent brain telling me it was great, but I loved that game. Mystic Mind Analysis, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Hi, Jessie. Hope you're well. What fictional character do you headcanon as trans? Ooh. I mean, Dax, obviously, but I guess Dax from Star Trek 269. I have to think about that, actually. I'm trying to think. Who would I headcanon as trans? Because I usually don't think that way about characters. I usually, like, I think I will, like, make characters queer and, like, change their sexuality because shipping is a lot of fun. You can sort of, like, see romantic tension. I'm trying to think of, like, who I could think of as a trans character that I usually do. I actually kind of thought of, this is a weird one, but I actually thought of the Archivist from Magnus Archives as trans, as, like, a trans man. But I know that that's not canon, but I always kind of saw him as that, too. Just seemed to, like, make sense with, like, his character sort of, like, kind of being in between worlds and things without spoiling too much about the Magnus Archives. So I definitely could think of that as well. That is actually something worth analyzing, how I never really make characters, like, trans within my brain. I probably could do that more, and I wonder what part of me didn't do that as much as, like, shipping does. Maybe it's, like, tension between characters. Maybe it is, like, some level of internalized transphobia. It's kind of interesting to think about. Maybe there's a video on that, actually. So thank you for that good question. I'll be thinking about that as we talk, actually. Let's see. I'm going to totally bungle your name, so apologies in advance for this. I mean no disrespect, but I know I'm going to screw this up. Hurius of Eluthan? I'm sorry if I screwed that up, but thank you so much for the super chat, and heart to you. I really appreciate it, and I do apologize that I am a terrible pronouncer of names. Love your videos, just saying hi. Well, thank you. I say hi back to you, and I really appreciate you being here. Let's see, and one more. I got Aries Pisces, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I don't know why my voice cracked. Thanks to you. But is that a Captain America shield? Cool. Yes, that is a Captain America shield, and it's a really nice one. I managed to get it cheap. I think it was on sale when I got it. And also I can expense it because I put it in videos, so I can, like, write it off as a tax thing because it's in videos. It's an important work thing that I'm using. But it's actually, like, a nice shield. It's, like, actually got the straps on the back and everything. It's just really cool. I want to, like, tighten the straps like Cap does. All right, what's going on in the chat? In my old hand canon, SpongeBob is gender fluid. Oh yes, SpongeBob is totally gender fluid. I mean, Loki is also gender fluid, but that's kind of canon, not within Marvel, but within, like, Norse canon. Loki is basically gender fluid. So. The Doodling Dino, sending love. How's your day going? I hope your days goes better. Well, it's already going better. Today I woke up feeling better after what happened yesterday. Like, it's not great, but it's handleable. So it is what it is. But like I said, I don't really want to talk about it. If you wanna know more, you can check out Twitter or whatever. I talked about it there. See, Imperial Young, Savick was asking for tips on coming out to family. Okay, thank you, yes. Let me see if I can find what Savick said. Just so I can... Savick, if you want to post again, I might have missed your... And hey, Council of Geeks, it's good to see you, Vera. I didn't see that you had come in. Well, Savick, if you want to ask that again, because I want to hear what you have to say, because I'd love to give advice if you're interested. Coming out to family, I mean, it kind of depends on your situation. So I need to know a little bit more, but I can give you at least a little bit of advice that I can give, and just know that my advice is, like, I'm a random person on the internet, not a professional, but I can definitely give you some advice that I had. Let's see. So I'll just wait for Savick, but I'll see what else I can answer really quick. Loki is species fluid. He can be a horse. That is also true. That is very, very true. Loki is just fluid in general. He's basically just water. Let's see. Tribor. Tribor is gender fluid. Oh my gosh, yes. Tribor. I need to catch up on Final Space. I haven't watched the latest episode yet, so I'm actually very excited about that. Vaporware. Hey, Jessie, love your videos and great to see another trans person with similar dorky interests to mine. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Hey, This Glorious Clockwork. Good to see you. Did I miss Savick? I just saw Savick. I'm sorry. I'm looking for Savick's line, but I'm looking for it. Oh, Gabriella. Well, thank you. Glad you're new to the channel and welcome to the community. Okay. I was wondering if you had any tips for coming out. I'm bi, ace, and non-binary. I mean, for coming out, just the first thing to realize for coming out, especially the first time, you're going to be coming out numerous times. There's not really just one coming out moment in your life. You'll be coming out your entire, like even to today. I've been out as trans for years now, and I still come out to people. Like people sometimes don't know I'm trans, or they don't know I'm bisexual, or things like that. I say I'm bisexual just so everyone knows. I identify as bisexual just because that's the term I found, but I probably be more akin to what people would think of as pansexual today. But yeah, so like there's a constant coming out process, so just be aware of like that, and it's also constantly a coming out process to yourself as well, figuring out what you want. In terms of coming out to family, I think the first thing to do is like kind of assess what your needs are and kind of assess what their feelings are, because for my family, I was lucky in the sense that like I knew that most of my family members were religious in some way, shape, or form, but I also knew that generally they would probably be accepting, if not understanding, at least up front. So I was lucky in that regard. So when I came out to my family members, I had a friend who I had on call. They weren't there with me because they couldn't be, just because I lived several hours away from where they were at the time. But I had a friend who was like, I could call them if like things went south or I needed to talk about it or whatever. So just have like a backup person who, if you are out to somebody who knows, just have them sort of like available in case you have anything that happens. If it's a safety thing, like if you think the person you're coming out to is not going to be safe to come out to potentially, make sure you have a way to get out of the situation. That's just a good rule of thumb anyways, but just make sure you kind of like have a plan going in to be like, hey, all right, this is where this needs to stop, so let me get out. But the other thing too is when you're approaching the conversation, just like be honest and be open and just be like, this is what I am. I don't think it's a good or bad thing. It just is me, and I want to share it with you, because that's what you're doing. You're ultimately just sharing more of yourself with another person. So those are some of the things that kind of off the top of my head that I can think of in terms of coming out. And just never... I know that this is easier said than done, and I'm just saying it just to keep it in mind for anyone who is coming out, but like I know that this isn't going to stop this, because it will happen. But if anyone ever makes you feel bad for coming out, like don't ever feel bad for coming out. Your coming out is a gift that you are giving to someone else. You are sharing part of yourself with someone else. So like you should not feel bad for just sharing more of yourself with someone. Again, if someone does do that to you, I know human emotions are human emotions, but it is nice to at least hear and to know. So I just would put that up to you. So thank you. I hope that was helpful in some way, Savick. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just hopeful that was helpful. But I do see I got some super chats, so I just want to make sure I quick get to them. Amar, thank you so much for the super chat. A heart to you. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. You said, I was very inspired by your weight loss story as someone who is working on losing a bunch of weight myself. Any suggestions? Mostly money to replace your stuff. Well, thank you so much for the super chat and for the helping me with what happened yesterday. I really appreciate that. But in terms of weight loss, I actually am planning on doing a video kind of about that situation at some point. I kind of know what I want it to be. So I will be talking about that in greater length. In terms of my emotional process about weight loss and what I felt about my weight even to this day, because I do have many feelings related to weight even to today. But I'll save that for a video where I can kind of present that in the way that I feel most comfortable with. But in terms of like actually how I lost a lot of my weight, part of it was coming out and feeling better about myself and actually wanting to care about myself, because up until that point I had never really cared about my body because I didn't like my body in any way, shape, or form. And so coming out kind of enabled me to think like, oh, my body can actually be what I want it to be. I don't need it to be... it doesn't need to be this thing that I hate or am apathetic about. So, number one, mental state usually helps. First and foremost about weight loss. Like, it's... A lot of it is about, like, how you view yourself and your relationship to your body. So, if that's not healthy in the first place, then, exercise and things will help that, but one kind of more follows the other. Obviously, working out and doing better can help your mental state as well, but they're very interlinked in that sense. For me, what I did actually wasn't all that much in terms of like radical changes. All I did was I started going to the gym at least 5 days a week. I didn't really do anything crazy. I literally just ran. I did like cardio for like 30 minutes and then lifted weights for about like another 15-30 minutes. It was like an hour a day. Sometimes even less than that. Sometimes even do like 15 minutes of weights. So it wasn't anything crazy, but it was like kind of basic stuff. And then it was like calorie counting. which can be health. Calorie counting can be good. It can also become obsessive, which happened in my life, where you start overly obsessing over calories. So try to find a good balance about it. But I tried to do a lot of calorie counting and just making sure I didn't go over, like, I think it was like my goal was like 1,700 calories per day. But again, you want to give yourself some leeway and never feel bad if you don't miss that goal. Like, never shame yourself if you fail. That's a problem that I fell into. And then the other thing I did is I just cut out sugar and soda. I think those are sort of the two main things that I sort of focused on with weight loss. So hopefully that was helpful. But that's generally how I talked about it. And like I said, I do want to talk about it more in terms of my mental state with that over the course of my life. So there will be a video on that at some point. Olivia Wolcott, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Your question is, FemShep is the only Shep. I don't hate. Everyone hates on male Shep. I actually didn't hate male Shep, or the actor for male Shep. He was all right. He was fine. FemShep was just so much better. I thought her like takes on different dramatic scenes were better. But I didn't hate male Shep. I thought he was okay. He was just kind of like standard, like, I'm the hero dude. He didn't really have a lot of like nuance to the performance, but he wasn't terrible. Anyways, what's your takes on banshees in the game? Are you as terrified of them as me? That scream brings terror to my soul. Oh my gosh, yes. The banshees are the things like the husks that are the Asari husks, right? If I'm correctly remembering, because those things were creepy as all hell, and I hated them. And they're a pain in the butt to fight too. I just want to make sure I remember what I'm exactly. Yeah, banshees of the corrupt Asari, often found leading to a Reaper strike force. Yeah, they were a pain in the butt. You know those enemies? There's like almost every game has those like enemies. You're like, you get one of them and you're like, those are creepy, and then they start to become annoying later on in the game. At one point, they just start becoming like, oh, I don't want to battle one of these stupid things again. And I remember them being that, but the sound design on them was great, and the visual design on them was actually horrifying too. Mass Effect is like, it doesn't really get a lot of credit for this, but there's a surprising amount of horror and body horror in that series that it doesn't really necessarily get talked about enough, but the Mass Effect games have a surprisingly good amount of very well done horror and body horror. So yeah. Reinhardt, good to see you. Heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I wanted your opinion on what the governor of Mississippi did signing that bill to ban trans women from female sports. I think it's just sad. I didn't actually see that because I've been, for my own mental health, had to like look away, but I will actually see if I can look up what the governor did. Transgender women sports. And I can kind of give you my thoughts right off the bat here. This is going to be my initial reaction. Let's see. Governor Tate Reeves signed a bill Thursday. Is it just the fact that the governor signed the law? Or did he do something? Did he like celebrate it or whatever? Which would be a terrible thing. Protect young girls from being forced to compete with biological males. Yeah, you're protecting young girls. Yeah, except for not trans girls, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, unless I'm missing something, I don't want to spend the whole thing, just whole stream reading this article. But I mean, like, it's just indicative. I mean, like I've talked about in my video, like the science behind, like, you know, people tend to think like, oh, people who have a penis are better at sports and people who have a vagina are worse at sports if you're born with that, you know, if you're born with either one of those, and putting aside, you know, intersex people completely, because intersex people always get ignored and stuff like this. But it's just like the science behind like transitioning, like, there's a lot of unknowns with like how people are affected in what sports, but ultimately, especially when it comes to female sports athletes in school, like I said in my video on it, it's like the whole point of those sports isn't necessarily to be the winner. It's to build camaraderie, build healthy practices. So to ban trans women from those sports at such a young age otherizes them, affects their mental health, not only in terms of the stigmatization and discrimination they face, but also just not letting them access to a social outlet and a healthy, speaking of like, as we did before about like your relationship to your body, a healthy athletic outlet. And it's just all around just horrible, and it's based on crap science, and it's just playing up the culture war in order to win votes and galvanize voters, because it's such a like it's a on the surface very clear issue, but when you look into it, there's so much more nuance to it, as there are with most things. So it's just sad, and I agree with you, Reinhardt. It's just honestly just sad. So, let's see here. Sending a heart. I got another super chat right here. Blue Tree 0502. Thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. I appreciate it so much. Towards your brand new uniform. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, it was the... So, I won't get into the whole thing, but yesterday, some stuff got stolen from me while I was filming a video, and one of the things that got stolen was a Starfleet uniform. Tendy's uniform from Lower Decks, actually. So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Okay. Now I'm actually caught up on the chat. I see that there's someone kind of being a jerk in the chat, so thank you. I see someone's dealing with that, so thank you to the mods. I appreciate that. Sorry that I missed those things as I was sort of catching up on the super chats. So everyone send thank you to the mods. Hearts to all the mods. You're all wonderful, and there's a few of you in here today. Let's see. Trans girl sending love. Thank you for your vids. Thank you, Dr. Phil. I like that. I like that title too. Good username. Let's see. I'm actually a bit lost in Mass Effect Andromeda at the moment. Glad I finally gave it a chance. Some characters are walking liabilities. Most of it's actually great. Yeah, I agree. I actually really like... Everyone hates on Mass Effect Andromeda. And to be fair, it was similar to... Not to the level of Cyberpunk 2077, but like... I think Cyberpunk 2077 is actually a good game underneath all the bugs. But... Mass Effect Andromeda similarly had a lot of bugs, but underneath that, it was actually a pretty solid game. The story wasn't to the level of the Mass Effect trilogy, but it never was going to be. I don't think they were trying to be. It was trying to tell, like, a different side story of the universe, and I actually liked it. I thought it was good. I think my only, like, critique of the, like, story of Mass Effect Andromeda in general was that I wish they had fleshed out the new universe a little bit more. Because the whole point of the game is like, we're going to a new universe. We're going to the Andromeda Galaxy. And while there is an explanation for it within the story that I won't spoil in case someone hasn't played it, because it does get explained, but there's really only 2 new races that you meet. And I'm like, that's kind of just... I understand why they don't, because it would have been a lot of work to do that. But there was so many... Like, you go into a new galaxy, I feel like we would want to, like, explore a new galaxy and meet tons of new races. But ultimately, it kind of felt a little bit empty. In general, and I was just kind of sad for that, because I'm like, oh, if you're going to a new galaxy, give us a lot more of the universe. That being said, the story was good, and there was a lot of interesting political dynamics and ideas that they brought up within it. I just don't think the new galaxy concept was explored to its fullest. But I did like that game quite a bit, and it doesn't get its due. So, and I see another super chat. Thank you so much, Finjamin Fox. Thank you. I appreciate the super chat. Heart to you. You are lovely. I don't really have a question or anything. I just think your content is awesome. I'm sorry you had a crap day yesterday. Well, thank you, Benjamin Fox, and I think you are awesome. So thank you so much for the compliment, and I really appreciate it. Let's see. Ian Manning says, watched Invincible, and oh my god, the end of the first episode. Yes, I won't spoil on the stream, but yes. Yeah, I watched Invincible, as I said in my review. Everyone was talking about Invincible. I have friends... Hector Navarro, who is someone who I occasionally chat with and I know on Twitter, and we talk every once in a while. Hector Navarro was, like, talking up Invincible on Twitter. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a go. I'm a little bit inundated with, like, superhero things, especially, like, cynical superhero things at the moment. And I was curious what Invincible was going to do to separate it from The Boys, which is, like, on the surface, like, The Boys sounds very similar to Invincible. So I was like, all right, is it going to be the same thing? But then I watched it. The first 30 to 45 minutes of the first episode are kind of like, this is okay. It's not bad. It's interesting, but it's not exactly anything revolutionary. It was like, yeah, it's a fine superhero thing. And then you hit the last 10 minutes. And you're like, whoo, okay. They're doing a thing that I have not seen here. So I will basically just say, without giving anything away, if you like superhero stuff and you like what Game of Thrones was at its peak, the sort of like very surprising, very interesting, depthful storytelling, I would highly recommend Invincible. It is very gory, so know that going in. But I think it's a fantastic show, and I won't say anything more than that because other than that, I would be spoiling. But I really liked it, and the 2 episodes after that, I think, really developed the world. So I'm very excited to be reading. I ordered the compendium, like the comic compendium, but it's out of stock right now, so I will be getting it in the near future, and I'll be able to give you my thoughts on the actual comic once I get a chance to read that. But I'll be reading that once the show's done anyway, or at least the first season of the show's done anyways. What was that? Woo! It's like a party. It's a rave. Sorry, I'm a child. I got distracted. Whee! Look at these. Like I did a doop a doop a doop. I don't know. I'm having too much fun with the simplest like string. I'm like a cat. I'm like a cat string. Anyways, got a super. Oh, Corey, thank you from both you and Vale. Thank you to both you and Vale. I really appreciate that, Corey. That is very kind. Heart to you and Vale, both of you, and your kids. Sending you all love. Jessie, much love from Vale, and I thank you for being you. You inspire us daily. Well, you two are also really, really lovely and wonderful, and are just super kind and like the sweetest people. So thank you. I really appreciate both of you. So, and I appreciate everyone in the chat. Not just you two, but thank you, Corey. You know what I'm trying to say. Olivia Wolcott, heart to you. Thank you for the next super chat that you gave. I really appreciate that. I wanted to share some good news too. Yay! I like good news. My name change petition has been submitted. I'm just waiting on my court dates now. Hell to the yes. That is awesome. Hell yes. I remember getting my name changed. I remember that was a lot of, well, fun is the wrong word. Because court stuff is a pain in the butt. And it costs, especially at that time, I had to pay it's like $100 to get my name changed. Which, like, at the time, like, now I could deal with that, but, like, at the time, I was, like, just out of college, and, like, $100 was, like, literally a day's worth of, like, probably 2 days worth of work. I was working at Starbucks at the time. Anyways, it was a significant, probably more than that, honestly. I don't remember the financials, but anyways, I just remember it cost $100, and that was a lot of money. It's a lot of money for, like, a lot of people. Hell, it's not even that far out of the realm of being a lot of money for me now. But anyways, the financial stresses of name change aside, which is BS. The best part of it is like you actually get to see your own name like reflected on the documents, and you don't have to like deal with that stupid annoying BS of like, oh yeah, I have to put down this legal name and it's like, no, this is my name, and now the law reflects that. The law just is finally catching up on it. So Olivia, that is absolutely wonderful. I am so happy for you, and absolute congratulations to you. That is absolutely wonderful. You worked at Skybound, Geek Filter? I didn't know you worked at Skybound. I actually interviewed for Skybound 2 years ago. I didn't get the job. I did some contract work for them. I wrote some, if you go on their YouTube channel, they have that Gamma Ray YouTube channel. I used to actually write some of their, and do voiceover. You'll catch some voiceover over there. They have a Gamma Ray YouTube channel that I used to write articles for. I'm going to turn this down. I used to write articles for that. And so I did some work for Skybound, and I interviewed there for a full-time job that I didn't end up getting. But that's actually a really kind of ironic story, funnily enough, but I'll share that at a different time. But I can send you some Invincible books. I used to work with Skybound, Save Your Mind. Oh, and I didn't give you a heart. Sorry, Geek Filter. Heart to you. Appreciate that. You don't need to send, because I ordered the book. I ordered the first compendium. Maybe I'll borrow the rest of them after I finish the first compendium. I just got to wait for it to be back in stock. And I'm not in any rush. I have no time anyways at the moment, so I'm not in any rush to read it, but I will read it at some point once it gets here, so. Ashton Hamray, so apologies if I said that wrong, but heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Name change money is ridiculous, but I'm so glad I changed mine. I hope that this helps. Well, thank you so much for the super chat, and congrats on also changing your own name as well. Yeah, and I also speaking of name changes, there's that weird thing. You had to pay $400, Thorn Silver Holly Song? Dear Lord, that is insane. And actually, now that I think about it, if I recall, I might be misremembering this, so don't hold me to this, but I think I actually applied for, like, the reason it was 100 was, like, I actually had to apply for, like, the like, there's like if you don't have a certain amount of money, you can apply for like making it less money, which just seems like BS to me. Like why? Like I could go off on like the whole system, everything in the whole country, the whole world, capitalism in general is all based on giving power to people who only have money. So I could go off on a whole thing on that, but yeah, I do remember that. Like I think I actually had to apply for like making it less money to change my name, which is like it's just locking off like access to our legal system to those who have money. And I mean, same thing with lawyers. You have to pay lawyers and stuff like that. Anyways, that's a whole capitalist rant that like I don't think any of us need at the moment because we all know it. We all know that the courts and legal system are all there to benefit people who have money. Not a surprise. Ken the Parched Man, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. Appreciate that. Only been subscribed for a few weeks and already a big fan. Well, thank you, and I'm glad that you subscribed and welcome to the community. The World War Wonder Woman 84 video sold me for sure. Well, thank you. That was a fun one to do. I enjoyed making that one, even though it kind of made me it made the enjoyment I got out of making that video made watching the movie better. Because I was so shocked at that movie. Oh my gosh. Like, I watched it the day after Christmas. Because it came, yeah, I think it was the day after Christmas. I watched it the day after Christmas with a friend of mine. We sort of like did a Zoom Skype thing and watched the movie together. And we were so hyped for it. It's like, yes, Wonder Woman 1984. And we watched it and we were like, oh my, it's bad. I didn't expect it to be bad. No, like, we were so shocked by how bad it was because we were so hyped and we were not like, generally when I go into movies like that, I like have an idea whether it'll be good or bad just based on like conversations and reviews that I heard before it. But yeah, that movie was just not what I was expecting, and so that video is what came out of that for sure. So, Sam, there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. Highly agree, Sam. I mean, it's just a statement of fact, really. It's not really a thing I can disagree with. It is just a fact. World War 84. Oh God, no, please. Yeah, that's a lot of world wars. We'd have to get through 81 more wars to get to that one. Jeez. Let's see. I'm just catching up on the chat here. I never liked my name. Homebody said, never liked my name. Got made fun of it as a kid. Plus other crud. My name actually triggers me, but feel too old to try and change it. Well, I mean, like, well, number one, the law. I mean, legal stuff is legal stuff, but like, you can just change your name whenever you want. Name is just how we exist in the world, and if it makes you feel better to change your name, then just change it, and you don't have to worry about changing it. You can just use it. I mean, that's the thing too. Like, that's the thing too. Even with pronouns, we get caught up in like, what pronouns do you use, and as like a static identifier of ourselves. But honestly, like, to me, this is my understanding of it, and it doesn't have to be yours. If you disagree with me, that's totally fine. But for me, I always viewed like things like pronouns and names even as just elements of how we express ourselves in the world that can change just as much as we change clothing. I mean, names and pronouns are just as much a social construct as anything else, and as such, like, if it helps you to fit you better to change those up and play with them every once in a while, then that's totally okay. Now, obviously, like, changing your name every other day would be like a bit of a pain in the butt for anybody trying to talk to you or about you, but I do believe, like, we should allow ourselves more fluidity just in general on those things. And that's not to say everyone would be fluid about it, but I think as a society we should be less rigid in those things. So yeah, that's why I even say, like, for me, like, I generally lean on she, her, and they, them pronouns, and that's what I sort of tell people for the most part. But I'm not even, for people who I know are not intentionally misgendering me, because some people will intentionally misgender me by saying he, him. But for people who I know accept me for who I am, see me for who I am, I actually don't necessarily mind if they use he, him pronouns for me, because it's just, sometimes I feel that way too, as someone who is a bit more gender fluid, non-binary. It's not something that I'm against. I just don't usually put that front and forward because, like I said, people who are intending to hurt me will use he, him pronouns, and so just kind of like stay away from that. I sort of like avoid presenting that. But for people who know me, I actually don't mind that at all. So Angie Pugh, well, thank you for the super chat. Heart to you. I really appreciate that. That anxious girl who likes movies is in here asking for depression advice. I wanted to boost her visibility. Yes, thank you. Let's see. I'm just trying to catch. Apologies, that anxious girl. If you want to repost, I missed it. I'm just trying to scroll through and see if I can find what you said. That anxious girl likes movies. Sorry to say it again, but I've really been feeling really, really depressed the past few days and bored too. What do you do when you feel like this? Well, okay, so first things first, just sort of presenting, just putting this up again. Everyone's depression comes from different places, comes from different issues and things like that. So I will give you my advice, what I try to do, but just know that this is what I do, and it may not necessarily work for you. Hopefully it will, and I hope it helps. But I'm also not a professional, and also, like, my depression is unique to me. So just putting those qualifiers on this, but I will let you know. So trying to, like, think of the best, like, sort of general advice that I give. I think what I try to do when I'm depressed is For me, I generally tend to get energy from other people. I am very much more of an... I like to think of myself as an ambivert, but I'm probably an extrovert. And so I usually try to reach out to people because my natural impulse when I'm depressed is sort of like cloister in and blame myself and hate on myself. And so what I usually do is just try to have a friend. I have a few friends that I really just trust. And I just go to them and just say like, hey, can we just talk? And I don't need to necessarily share what I'm depressed about, or if I'm not depressed about anything, just like get energy from someone else being in the room and just enjoy their presence. And that's hard during a pandemic, obviously, but I've done Zoom calls. Like I have a regular Zoom call with my best friend that we do every week. That's just like kind of a check in, do some, like we just do some work while they're there. It's just kind of nice to do that. The other thing, too, is I try to make sure to give myself permission to... What's the best way to put it? Give myself permission to... No, better way to put it. Not judge myself. Try my best to not judge myself for what I'm dealing with. So, try to best to explain this. Like, for example, I get a lot of anxiety when I'm not productive. As many of you probably can tell by the amount of content that I put out, I'm a bit of a workaholic. I like to do a lot of work, and when I'm not working, I feel very, very anxious. And when I get depressed, that kind of becomes triple-fold. I get really down where if I'm not able to do work, and if I'm not being productive, I start hating myself and telling myself that I'm worthless, that I'm meaningless, that I'm terrible. And that's complete bull. It's complete and utter bull. But it's hard to break out of that when that's like the source of where my anxiety comes from wanting to make more stuff, wanting to be productive. Make more stuff is the wrong way to put it, but like wanting to be productive. And so what I try to do is I try to like say, okay, I am going to not be productive, and that's okay. And I force myself to go do something fun that I enjoy for myself. Like I go and play a video game. Like I play like Sonic Adventure 2, which is one of my favorite like just relaxing games, and just play and beat that. And I think also video games are a great way to like deal with depression in a lot of ways, if that's something you're able to do, and playing games that you have beaten before, because I feel like for that, like the sense of completion, the sense of success, I think number one, like the feeling of comfort and the feeling of like completing something, I think helps, at least for me. Yeah, that's sort of my off the head advice. I could probably help more. I mean, the other thing too are just financial stuff, like talk to someone professional, but obviously that depends on your situation and what you can talk about and things like that. So that's helpful for some people. I would always recommend a therapist for everybody, even people who aren't dealing with a necessarily like big issue at the moment. But it is what it is. Again, capitalism gonna capitalism. But I think like the biggest thing, and this is, like I said, easier said than done, just try not to judge yourself. Try to give yourself like the permission to suck. You know, that's like, that's probably the best, like the worst way to put it. But like, you know, if being depressed means you sit in bed all day doing nothing, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. The only thing that says that's wrong with that is society, and sometimes up here. Hopefully that's helpful. I hope that's helpful. That's sort of what I think about with that sort of thing. So again, I don't know if that's going to apply to your situation, but for me, that's what I try to do. Okay. Tara, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate that. Heart to you. I think I actually missed another one too, so I'll make sure to get that. Some good news here. My decade-long depression broke at the end of last year. I'm regaining my confidence and working on my name change. Filing fees for me are $250 and gender marker change. Congratulations! Hell yes! Hell yes for the name change and gender marker change. Awesome stuff. That is so wonderful to hear, and I'm glad that you're doing well. Especially during the pandemic, like that's even more admirable. Like you like finding yourself and being able to gain your confidence during this hard time. That's like hell yes, props to you. You are awesome. And I quick saw a few other super chats here. Von Tux, sorry, heart to you. Thank you so much, Von Tux. Sorry about your stuff, but at least it was only stuff and that replacing the keys didn't take you multiple days. Yes. So again, I don't want to get too much into this, but like someone took the thing that got stolen included my car keys, and because wherever I was filming, the reason I was out in the woods is I was actually filming for a video. that's going to be in the woods. And sadly, someone took my car keys. My bag had my car keys in it, and I had to call a car person to come and get me new keys and replace my key. So that was fun and expensive, but whatever. We deal with it. I'm done. It's like I said, I don't want to focus on it too much. I'm trying to just be like, because if I focus on it too much, I just get anxious about it. So I'm just kind of being like, okay. So I don't want to think about it too much. But thank you. I appreciate that, Von Tux. Suzanne, thank you. You didn't put anything in the super chat, but I'm going to give you a big old heart. So thank you, Suzanne, or Suzanne. I think I'm saying that right. Yes, I agree. I'm going to say this wrong. Maris Coletter, apologies, but you said there's a quote by some old dead philosopher, I can't remember the name of, just says, we have to do away with the idea of earning a living. 100% agreed. And that may be what the video that I'm doing, that I was filming yesterday is about. Anyways, kind of, that video might be a little bit more for me than for anyone else. Just telling myself that it's okay to relax. It's okay to not be productive. My brain never thinks that. My brain gets very anxious with not being productive. But that's because society tells us that. Oh, Brian Gressett, heart to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I think my patron card was out last payment, so here. Thank you so much. You do not have to worry about patron stuff. Like, I do appreciate that. But thank you. But thank you. Let's see. Catching up on the chat here. So I wasn't the only one who has spent trans day of visibility kind of depressed. That's good to know. Yeah, no, I mean, I was fine, like, in terms of general stuff until stuff yesterday happened. Actually, I forgot. I forgot I even have this loaded up. I'm going to share. Okay, I agree, Sarah. UBI is the future. We need to have UBI. But I actually forgot. I had this loaded up and I put it in here. So I'm going to share something. I'm going to share something fun with all of you. So just a little treat for all of you that have been sticking around in the chat. So for those of you who saw yesterday my trans day of visibility, and thank you for reminding me of this, chat. If you saw my video yesterday for a trans day of visibility, I obviously, part of that video is me standing on the balcony and yelling off the balcony. But I actually did that twice. The first time I did it was the one that you saw in the video. So that was actually the first time I did it. But I wanted to do it twice just to make sure, like, sound sounded good and everything, because I didn't check between shots. So I was like, I'll do it again a second time. And the second time I did it, I screwed up the line, which sucks because I screwed up the line, but someone actually yelled back. And it was hilarious. They just said woo, but it was absolutely adorable and hilarious. And I saved the video, and I honestly wish that was the one that I had been able to use in the video, but because I screwed up the line so bad, I screwed up the line, and like the last, like the bit where I say "and so are you" didn't work anymore, and it wasn't as powerful. My delivery wasn't as good. So I'm actually going to just share this clip with all of you because I wanted it to be here somewhere. I wanted to use it, but it's like it just didn't work in the edit. So I'll share it with all of you for everybody. So we're gonna jump over. I'm not gonna be able to hear it because the way this is OBS in the back end here is set up. So I'm just gonna share it with all of you. So here we go. I won't be able to hear it, but you'll be able to hear it. So it's this one. Hey world! I'm transgender, and that's fucking awesome! And so is all transgender people. Thank you. I love you. See? I told you someone heard me. And so are you. Hey world! So yeah. I just figured I'd share that with all of you. I hope you all enjoyed that. Now that the chat's caught up, I'm just saying, Chris K, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. Thank you so much for that little bravo super chat. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it was just some guy that was like so actually it's over here in this direction, but across the street from me, there's like a couple houses with balconies. And this guy was just sitting on the balcony, and he just went, woo! It was kind of adorable. It was pretty fun. Like I said, I wish I'd been able to use it in the video, but as you saw, I kind of screwed up the delivery. So alas, I couldn't use it, but it was just fun. I shot that on Shot that on Tuesday. So I actually shot that the day before Trans Day of Visibility, so I was just screaming on some random old Tuesday. Which is kind of funny. Oh, thank you, Thorn Silver Holly Song. You look like a superhero on that clip. Well, thank you. I like the flannel. I want some flannel superheroes. Give me a big old like lumberjack superhero. I'm all for that. We do need a Weirdos Day too, though. Agreed, homebody. We do need a Weirdos Day. I totally want a Weirdos Day. And that's always something. It's like I am a weirdo. I am a complete and utter weirdo, but my being weird has zero to do with being trans. So I wanted to make that clear in the video, because I am a weirdo dork, but me being a weirdo dork has nothing to do with me being trans. I'm a weirdo dork completely separate from being trans. So I do need a Weirdo Day to celebrate. Let's see. Von Tux, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. Thank you so much. You said, UBI sure, but worker ownership of the means of production sounds like the best way to ensure that. Yes. Democracy at Work lays out a great model of the transition out of capitalism. I haven't seen that, but I would generally agree with that statement, almost assuredly. Cue the lumberjack song. You're a lumberjack and you're okay. That is, oh my god. I didn't even really think about that. I didn't really connect that now, but that lumberjack song is, I mean, couched in like language that has not aged well, but that is a fairly trans song, isn't it? that is a trans song. That's kind of hilarious. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. I mean, it's making fun. I mean, that's like, it's not a song that like I would necessarily like say is good. It's not aged well at all, but it's funny kind of thinking about that now that I think about that. Let's see. I was a weirdo dork way before I realized it was trans, says Ren McNeil. That's, yep, agreed. I was a weirdo way before I realized I was trans too. I've always been I've always been trans, but I've also been a weirdo. And maybe they're interlinked, but not one did not cause the other. They were just both things that I am. Wellington Smith, heart to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. And good to see you, Wellington. I got my 8th Love Your Mask comment today. Been wearing it for months and love it. It's a trans ally mask. Been wearing it for just being a cis for just being a cis for trans visibility. For some reason I could not say that for some weird reason. But thank you so much, Wellington. That is adorable. I love the trans ally mask. That is wonderful. Gender fluid lumberjacks for the win. By the way, I've been watching Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast. I'm only on season 1 right now, but the Timber Cats who wear like the flannel. Freaking best thing. If you have not seen, okay, again, I'm only in the first season, so I know some people have issues with the ending. I have not seen the ending, so I can't judge it yet, so I don't really know. But based on the first season, Kipo and the Age of the Wonder Beast is like my kind of show. I love it so much. And the Timber Cats are just a wonderful part of it, so I just was thinking about that with the lumberjack stuff. Again, can't speak for the whole show, but based on the first season, that show might actually end up being one of my favorite shows. Again, depending on how the show ends, but. Oh, I'm sorry. I did see your super chat, Vovacat. Apologies. Let me go back. Well, first off, you get 2 hearts. So 2 hearts for Vovacat. Heart number 1 and heart number 2. Thank you so much, Vovacat. It's good to see you, by the way. I had a totally emotionally breaking Sunday. As usual, I will probably be staying alone until the heat death of the universe. Nothing new, really. Oh, I'm Vovacat. No. You are not going to be. You already know people. I know you're in my Discord. I know you're in my Discord, Vovacat. And so you are not alone. You have people that you can hang out with. And believe me, I know the feeling of being alone. Like, I don't necessarily know your specific situation, but I do know the feeling. Like, since the start of the pandemic, I've been generally living alone. So basically the whole history of my like being in quarantine is at the beginning of quarantine, I had my roommate that I was living with, and my roommate was a good guy, but he was mostly like kind of off in his room doing his own thing. He didn't really come out and hang out all that much. So like I did get to see him, which was nice, but he was very much more of a like closed in his room person. Then I did spend a couple months with my parents in New Mexico, which was nice, and that at least got me out. But there was no one like my age. My parents, I love my parents, but they're much older than me, and I didn't really get to hang out with people my age, which is its own thing. But I do love them, and it was nice to hang out with them. But then ever since then, especially since moving to Seattle, outside of like work stuff, I haven't really had a chance to be super social, which has been hard. It's been hard. It's hard to like spend nights alone, and not have any roommates to hang out with. Like being in solitary essentially for a long time it's rough. So I'm with you, Vovacat. But you are not alone, and you are not always going to be alone. And there are people that care about you, I being one. So I know you're in the Discord, and I know people are there. Like, hang out. There's the Discord watch parties. Please hang out with people. I know you do a few times, but you should hang out in the Discord watch parties and stuff. But sending you love, Vovacat. I'm giving you an extra heart. Catherine Lambeth. Sorry I missed most of the stream. Well, first off, heart to you. Thank you so much, Catherine. Sorry I missed most of the stream. I'm participating in a letter writing campaign to try to get the Equality Act through the State Judiciary Committee. I'm still here for you, Jessie. Well, okay. Number one, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that. It's totally okay that you were late for the super chat, especially for Nick. Number one, it's okay to be late in general. This is a casual thing. I'm not like, people who are late, I kick out, I hate you all. Like, no, of course, it's totally fine. Come when you come. But also, like, missing it for doing a letter writing campaign for the Equality Act, like, you don't need to apologize at all for that. Like, please, thank you. Thank you for being late and doing that. That's, like, way more important than me being a weirdo in chat here. So, like, do not feel bad about that, Kathleen Beth. Like, thank you. That is amazing. So I appreciate that. Heart to you, Castelas. I appreciate you. Sending you a heart. I missed a lot of the stream. Hope this goes a way to help you. Well, thank you, Castelas. I appreciate that super chat. You are super wonderful. Thank you so much. And it's like I said before, totally okay to miss the super chat. I'm here. I'll be here next week. It'll be fun. We're just hanging out. You already all are making me feel better. Just hanging out. So don't worry about that. Okay. Jessie is on a therapist of the year. I appreciate that, homebody, but I am not a professional therapist, and I never claim to be one. I can give you my advice, but it's always couched with like, I'm not a professional. I'm just a weirdo on YouTube, so I can give you my advice, and hopefully it helps. But also, like, my advice can never replace that of professionals. So. Yeah, I get you, Vovacat. Heart to you. Sorry, I didn't read it out loud, but I have friends, and I probably should get back to you being in Discord. You should. It's a relationship thing. Some people are not okay with having it. Not for me, though. Yeah, I understand that. Like, I haven't had, to be honest with you, I haven't talked about this much on my Discord. I haven't had many, like, romantic relationships in my life. I've had one decently long one that was, like, really, really helpful. The other ones that I've had in my life were either not healthy for various reasons that I don't want to talk about on a live chat, or like they were just like flings. Like I've had one night stands and things like that because Jessica got needs, but I haven't really had like long standing like romantic relationships other than with like I've really only had one in my life, which is what it is, and it's frustrating and sad, and especially in the pandemic, it's kind of lonely, but it is what it is. But you'll get through it. There is someone I do feel like I don't believe in like the one true soulmate, but I do believe that everyone has the potential to find love, because everyone is worth loving. So I think you can and will find someone. So, but Discord, definitely you should hang out with us more. I should hang out with people more. I need to be able to give myself time. I'm not in the Discord as much as I would like. But again, that's me, the productivity thing in my brain. Brian Gressett, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. Have you played City of Heroes? It's an MMORPG. It was discontinued almost a decade ago. Addicted. You can make character look like almost anything. I never played it, but I knew of it. I knew of like City of Heroes and City of Villains. I know that was like its sequel. And actually, it's made by the same people who made the Star Trek Online game, I think, too. I did want to play it. But back when it first came out, my mom wouldn't let me play MMORPGs. Because it was like, you're gonna get, like, attacked, and someone's gonna get your information and whatever, as a kid. So I never actually played it. And now, and to be honest with you, MMORPGs aren't really my thing. I'm much more of a, speaking of, like, hanging out with people, I'm much more of a solo gamer. I love playing board games with people. Like, I'm a huge in-person board game and D&D player, but I like being in person for that. I think a lot of that goes to, like, my anxieties, like, my social anxieties. I like to be in a room with somebody to be able to play with them. So things like MMORPGs, like the gameplay never really gets me, and I don't like interacting with people as much online in those types of environments, playing like where you're trying to like figure out other people's intentions and stuff like that. I can do it. Like Halo is like the one game that I can do that within. But other than that, like most stuff like that, but I love board games. And weirdly enough, despite seeing someone who like has terrible social anxiety, I love social deduction games. I love social deduction games like Resistance and Mafia and things like that, Secret Hitler, which is kind of ironic considering who I am, like what type of person I am. But yeah. So, favorite movie director? Ooh, good question, Alec Maurice. Good question. I always hate saying favorite because my taste will change with time and like what speaks to me. But if I had to pick a director, or actually like a series of director, the Wachowski sisters are actually like the team of them are two of my favorite directors of all time. And it's not because they're trans. I swear to God, it's not because they're trans. I actually liked them before I knew that they were trans. But I feel, and maybe it is because they are trans and like the way they film things like connect with me on that level. But it has nothing to do with the fact they are trans. But maybe the fact that they are trans like means that they speak about themes that I find really interesting. Because a lot of their work, especially Sense8 being my personal favorite of their works, Sense8. The themes that they talk about in their movies are themes of connection, of bringing people together, of finding love and connection and similarities across diversity and difference and identities and across cultures. Like, that's the lead theme of Sense8, like how, despite the fact that we come from different backgrounds and experiences, we all can find connection points. We can all help each other. We can all build each other up. And that's just always, like, that always just spoke to me. And then the fact that they're, like, sci-fi nerds and use a lot of philosophy, that also speaks to me. Like, everyone hates on the Matrix sequels. I actually really kind of like the Matrix sequels because it is a lot of characters talking about philosophy, and I could just, like, put someone on talking about philosophy for a very long time in a weird setting, and I will probably watch it. So the Wachowski sisters are probably my favorite directors if I had to pick a favorite. But then again, like, saying favorite is, I think, somewhat diminutive. Just because I think, like, there are other, like, at different times I'll probably say a different director, but those two are two that I generally keep coming back to. And yeah, Savor Lemon, I agree. Speed Racer is so underappreciated. Speed Racer is so good. Speed Racer is so good, and everyone hates on it, and I love that movie. It's an underappreciated gem, like a very underappreciated gem. Couple more. I'm gonna hang out for about another 5-10 minutes, just because my voice is getting a little bit sore, and I also have to go make some dinner. So voice is getting a little bit sore, but I'm gonna hang out for another 5-10 minutes, just so everyone knows how long the chat will keep going for. But Vovacat, heart to you for the next super chat. I appreciate that. And actually, did I miss? No, okay, I didn't miss a super chat. I just want to make sure I didn't. Let's see. People like us do love social deduction games. I found the most like-minded people in my uni are the weekly Mafia games. Fewer jerks there. Yeah, it is interesting. I do wonder about that because, you know, like I said, I've talked about me being on the autism spectrum. And, you know, I've always talked about, like, how maybe it's because whenever I'm in, like, a social situation, like when I'm hanging out with friends at a bar or, like, in a big party or something like that, I'm very anxious because what I feel like I'm doing all the time is constantly reading people and being like, what are they thinking? Like, I'm always, like, in my brain when I'm at a big party or in a group setting with other people that I'm not comfortable with or don't know super well, because I'm always trying to read them and, like, understand their social tics. I'm always, like, a little bit removed from the situation because of that. I'm always, like, one step away trying to analyze how people are acting. Like, I'm always feel like a scientist studying how people are interacting. And so I feel like social deduction games just take that and actually make it acceptable to, like, do that as part of, like, it takes that part of me that I'm doing constantly anyways and makes it fun in a game and makes it okay that I'm, like, analyzing people's motives and trying to read people differently. And so I always kind of, I think that's probably part of why I like social deduction games, because it takes this thing that is very anxiety inducing for me and makes it fun. And so I think that's part of it. So, yeah. That's why I also like the role-playing aspect of Dungeons & Dragons. Like, I like Dungeons & Dragons, but I generally don't like I don't hate the tactics part of it and, like, the leveling up and all that stuff. But honestly, if I could completely do away with all the leveling up and stuff like that of Dungeons & Dragons, I generally would and just do the role-play stuff. Because that's what's more interesting to me, probably for very similar reasons. Von Tux, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat, for another super chat, I should say. My friend group, the bonds of friendship, did not survive quarantine starting over with friends. Anyone feeling, excuse me, Starting over with friends. Anyone feeling bad? We've been in a bad situation. We'll all be okay. It's okay to not be okay. First steps to getting back to be okay. Yes, it is always okay to remember that it's okay to not be okay. You know, going back to the depression advice that I gave earlier, like when I was talking about don't judging, it's like don't judge yourself for being depressed, because like it's okay to not, like it is okay to not be okay. We're all people. And society may tell us, like, oh, you need to get up off your butt. You need to pick yourself up. Like, and obviously, I don't want to sit in depression for forever. But it's going to not help you to make yourself feel bad for feeling bad, because then it just compounds the problem. It makes it worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. It's okay to feel bad. It's all part of the human emotions. There's that one episode of, the episode is kind of bad, but The Descent, I believe it is, in Star Trek: The Next Generation, where Counselor Troy is talking to Data, and Data says, I feel anger, and isn't that a negative emotion? And Troy's like, no, it's not negative or positive, it's just an emotion. And it's all part of the human experience. I think the same thing with sadness and stuff like that. Obviously, again, it's something that you want to work to get out of, but like life goes like this. We go up and down throughout our life. And so don't feel bad for feeling bad. Just try to work to get out of it. So yeah, I agree totally and completely, Von Tux. Brian, thank you so much. Heart to you again. Thank you for the super chat. Forgot to say that City of Heroes was back on some servers a couple years back. Just got back into it and just got Discord to play it. Oh, well, fun. Maybe I'll check it out. I mean, it sounds like something I would really love, but again, MMORPGs are just not my jam generally. But I feel like the actual like world of it, I would generally enjoy. Mossel Green, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you, really appreciate it. Just wanted to show a bit of support, feel better. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that, and thank you for the support. And I also, I think your picture is Jessica Jones, which is awesome. I love Jessica Jones. In fact, do I have her out? No. I have a Jessica Jones like figurine, but she's not on my shelf. She's like locked away in the closet at the moment. I put Jessica Jones in the closet. It's a bad idea. Mackenzie Fleetwood, thank you so much for the super chat. Heart to you. I really appreciate it. Hey, just wanted to say, sorry you had a bad day. Hope things get better. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But I also have good news. Yay! I like the good news sharing. I got into the University of British Columbia. Hell yes! Congratulations. I don't know if the chat, I'm catching up on the chat, but I don't know if the chat's already said this, but, everyone give Mackenzie a congratulations. That is amazing. Absolutely awesome. Congratulations on getting into the University of British Columbia. Hell yes. So. T. Gowan. Heart to you. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much for the super chat. Just wanted to say thank you for all of your amazing videos. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. They've helped me feel less alone and more calm during a stressful period of time. Well, thank you. I'm glad. I'm hopeful. I'm thankful that they were able to do that for you. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Jessica Jones out of the closet, Jessie. Sadly. We talking about Taika Waititi in the chat. I like Taika. Taika's really great. I actually generally, I've seen, I think every movie of his. I think there's might be one after his first one that I missed, but I generally like Taika quite a bit. I mean, obviously, I think What We Do in the Shadows is his best one. I loved What We Do in the Shadows, and the TV show What We Do in. By the way, the TV show What We Do in the Shadows is also phenomenal. I really like that show. The episode with Mark Hamill is freaking amazing. If you haven't seen it yet, so please check it out. I would highly recommend it. Jojo Rabbit I liked quite a bit, and I liked some of the messages that it had to say. Structurally, I think there were some problems I had with it too, but overall, I thought it was a very good film. So. Eagle versus Shark. Yes, that's the one that I haven't seen. I have not seen Eagle. That's the one of Taika's that I haven't seen. I saw his first one, which for some reason I forgot the name of his first one. It's about the kid, the New Zealand kid, and Taika plays his dad. It's almost like a semi-autobiographical movie. I forget the name of it off the top of my head, but it was a very good movie. Boy, thank you, Looney. Looney 0123. You had it right. So that was a good one too. So. And I'm gonna go for 2 more minutes, but Vobica asks, heart to you. Thank you so much. Is it acceptable to be a big Nolan fan? Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a big Nolan fan. From what I hear, Nolan doesn't seem to be all that bad of a dude. Seems like a genuinely good guy, a bit pretentious probably at points, probably a little bit of living in his own hype at this point. But that being said, I generally think his stuff is really, really good. It speaks to me in a very interesting way. I think there's a reason that he's one of the most successful directors. I think he's one of the most creative directors. I love his use of time and playing with time. Let's see. So I think he's a really good director. And I think he doesn't seem like a problematic person as far as I know. And his movies are really good and interesting. I think my biggest critique of Nolan would probably be mostly that, especially his treatment of women, but his movies overall can feel a little bit emotionally cold. His treatment of women is pretty bad too. They're never really fully fleshed out, and they're generally just kind of there, or they die. They get fridged a lot too. But his and you know, it's fair. Like, his movies don't have to all be emotional bangers, but like to the point where, like, in Tenet, the name of the main character is literally called the protagonist. Like, so emotionally devoid of any context. So I think that's probably my biggest critique, is like his emotional coldness and his treatment of women. Though, to be fair, Inception I actually think was a very emotionally nuanced movie for what it was. People never give that credit, but I think that movie is very emotionally dense, actually. And Tom Hardy is probably one of my favorite parts of that movie. Also, Elliot Page in that movie is freaking fantastic. That whole movie, Inception's great. Inception's just generally great. Far Station. So I'm going to answer these 2 super chats, and then I'm going to probably wrap it up for the day, everybody. Let's see. And Woo Hooligan Comedy. Hi, Jessie. Don't know if you'll notice this. The chat is pretty full, but wanted to pop in and say thank you for all your work. I usually don't have time for live streams like this. Well, thank you so much for popping in. Just wanted to catch you because your heart just caught my eye, and I want to make sure I just said hi. Farpoint Station, heart to you. Thank you so much. So I'm just going to quick into these 2 here. You said best and worst thing about working at Mopop. Without speaking too much about my job, well, I'll share a best thing, and I won't share a worst thing because that gets into some other territory that I don't want to talk about on publicly. But best thing about working for Mopop is just the nerd stuff. I get to be able to go into the museum whenever I want to. I mean, I have to have like some ostensible work reason, but I can get into the museum, and I've been in the museum by myself a few times, like with the security guards that are there, but like I got to just hang out in some of the exhibits, which are really, really cool. So you're just like hanging out with like some really cool exhibits, like a dragon and stuff, by yourself. It's kind of fun. It's kind of nice. So that is the best thing. All right, and I'm just gonna answer Tracy's Tracy, heart to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. I have learned so much from your videos. Thank you for sharing your perspective on YouTube. I felt so seen when you shouted off the rooftop yesterday. Well, thank you, Tracy, and I'm honored, and I'm glad that me shouting off the rooftop was helpful, because that was the intention, and I'm very, very glad. Don't know why I'm looking here. I should look here. Thank you so much, Tracy. And just because, all right, I'll quick get to these. You're gonna keep me going for a little bit longer, but I just want to quick give a heart to two things. Actually, I want to catch up on Lisa's thing, and then this is it. These two super chats. Apologies to if you give super chats after this. I thank you, but these are the last two super chats, and I also want to grab Lisa's thing too. Interstellar is one of my most favorite movies ever. It is not emotionally devoid and has great female characters, main characters. So that is true. That is true. I mean, the two main female characters are kind of sidelined in that film, and I feel like some of the emotion could be dragged up further. But you are correct. That isn't completely emotionally devoid. I think the one scene where I'm blanking on the actor's name, but when he comes out and he realizes that his daughter's like had a whole life without him, that scene is really wonderfully acted, like so wonderfully done. So I would agree with you. Interstellar is actually not completely emotionally devoid. I totally agree. And the singer girl TSG, heart to you. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for all that you do. Well, thank you for you as well. I appreciate that. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you for being you. So just want to say that. And then just a quick, I don't want to end on a negative, but I do want to quick at least catch up on this. Before you peace out, did you catch the new court ruling that gives legal protection to professors and misgender their students? Yes, I did. It is terrible. There's no excuse for misgendering, at least intentionally, or like willful misgendering. Like, I can excuse someone who may not who is getting used to trans stuff or doesn't understand or whatever. Like, I'm never going to make someone feel bad for accidentally misgendering someone, but willful misgendering of people is truly horrible, and to codify that into law that you can actively disrespect people, and even worse, actively disrespect students who you should be taking care of and helping guide and helping learn and teach. You as a professor, as a teacher, you are a model of behavior in so many different ways, shape, or forms. And to codify into law that you can actively disrespect your students and not see them is frankly disgusting. There's a lot more I could say on it, and maybe I'll do a video on it at some point, but yeah, not a fan. And I think it's just frustrating, because it's just like, why? Like, it's just basic respect for people. Like, just have basic respect. Like, it's not that hard to gender someone. Like, it's just showing basic respect. It just frustrates me, because it's like, it's so dumb. It's such a, in the ultimate scheme of things, it is very important to trans people. Obviously, it affects their mental health, but it's like, in the end of the day, it's like, it's such a dumb thing to be so angry over, and to be like codifying into law that you don't want to have basic respect for people. Like, it just angers me. But it is what it is. Anyways, I hate ending on a negative, so let's end on a positive. Here, I see Imperial Young. I love you all. Thank you, Imperial Young. I love you as well, and thank you for saying that to everybody. So ending on a positive note here. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate you, and I've said this times before, but especially today, like, doing these live streams it makes me feel better. It makes me feel good. I wouldn't do them week to week if it didn't, like, make me, I don't know, I just feel better every time I do a live stream, and that's thanks to all of you for being wonderful people. So I just want to say thank you for being truly wonderful and amazing people. And I send you all hearts. You're all lovely. This is for all of you for being truly fantastic. I needed this today, so thank you to everybody. Oh shoot. I had the button ready, Corey. For those of you who don't know, I can almost never find the end stream button, but I usually have it ready. But this time I screwed it up and I had it hidden, so I wasn't able to end the stream. Anyways, now I've talked longer about it. Anyways, you're all wonderful. You're all beautiful people, and have a wonderful evening. I'm going to go make dinner.